Hello students, welcome to the second lecture on the lecture series on speed, time and distance. Okay, so in this lecture what we'll do is we'll do some exercise problems because previously we have covered all the basic kind of concepts and some types of problems that are usually being asked on various competitive exams. So in this lecture what we'll do is we'll cover some exercise problems so that we could sharpen all those concepts. So let's go forward and see this lecture. Okay, so let's start with problem number 1. A bicycle moves at a speed of 10 meter per second. So how far does it travel in 3 hours? Okay, if it has 3 hours, then how much distance will it cover? So we know that speed is equal to distance by time, right? So since speed is equal to distance by time, so this implies that so speed is 10 meter per second, right? So here you can see that the time is given in hours. So 1 hour is equal to 3600 second, right? So this implies that 3 hour is equal to what? 3600 into 3 second. So 10 meter per second is equal to, distance is not given, so let it be x, and time will be 3600 into 3, right? So this implies that, and this is in second. So this implies that x is equal to what? 10 into 3600 into 3. Okay, so this much amount of meters distance. Okay, so this much amount of meter it will cover in what? 3 hours if the speed is 10 meter per second. Okay, so distance is equal to speed into time, because speed is equal to what? Distance by time. So plugging in the given value, so distance is equal to what? 10 meter per second into 3 hours. So it will be 1080 kilometer or 10,800 1,08,000 meter, that is 108 kilometer. Okay, so the bicycle travels this much amount of kilometers. So let's see problem number 2. So if Fareen walks to school at a speed of 4 km per hour, then it takes 45 minutes to get there. Okay, so how far away is her school from her home? Okay, so the speed of Fareen is 4 km per hour. Okay, so if Fareen is here, then she travels to her home. Okay, home at how much speed? So at 4 km per hour. Okay, and it takes her 45 minutes. So speed is equal to what? Speed is equal to distance by time. That is what we know, distance by time. So speed is equal to 4. So this is equal to distance by time will be what? So distance is unknown here, so let it be x, and time is 45 minutes. Okay, so as you can see here, it is in minutes. So what we want to convert it into is hour. So 45 minute is equal to 3 by 4 hour. So this will be what? 3 by 4. Okay, because this is in kilometers per hour. So x is equal to x is equal to 4 into 3 by 4 is equal to 3. So x will be equal to 3 kilometers. So the speed, so the distance from Fareen school and Fareen's home will be what? 3 kilometers only. Okay, so let's go forward and see the step-by-step solution. So converting 45 minutes into hours, because we, in order to do the calculations, what we want is we want one metric system. Okay, so we'll be taking kilometer and hour as metric system in this case. Okay, so 45 minutes is equal to 45 by 60 hours, so 0.75 hours, or equal to 3 by 4 hour, right? So using the formula, distance is equal to speed into time. So plugging in the given value, so 4 km per hour into 0.75 hours is equal to what? 3 kilometers. So Fareen's school is actually 3 km away from her home. So let's see problem number 3. Okay, so a car travels the first third of the journey at a speed of 30 km per hour. Okay, so what happens is, here is the journey track. Okay, so it is point A, point B and point C. So from A to C, the track has been divided into 3 parts, right? So let it, this part be B, this part be C, and this part we let D. Okay, so this is the first part, this is the second part, and this is the third part. Okay, so let these be equal parts. Okay, so a car travels the first third of the journey at a speed of 30 km per hour. Okay, here 30 km per hour is the speed. Next one in 45 km per hour. Okay, so 45 km per hour, and the third one at 60 km per hour. Okay, if the entire journey is 90 km. Okay, so if the entire journey is 90 km, so distance So distance between A and D is equal to 90. So this implies that distance between A, B will be what? Since it is the 1/3, so it will be 90 by 3 is equal to 30. So distance between B and C will be what? So distance between B and C will be 90 by 33. So it will be 30, right? So distance between C and D will be what? It will be exactly 90 by 3 is equal to 30, right? So in each case, okay, so let the time taken to cover the first half be T1, and let the second half, the time taken to cover the second half be T2. Let the time taken to cover the third half be T3. Okay, so T1 is equal to what? S1, D1 by S1. So D1 by S1, right? So D1 is equal to what? It is 30, and S1 is equal to what? 30. So it will be 1. So it will be 1 hour. Okay. So T2 is equal to what? So T2 is equal to D2 by S2. So D2 by S2. So D2 is equal to what? It is 30 kilometer, and S2 is what? So S2 is 45 kilometers. So 45 kilometer per hour. So it will be equal to what? It will be equal to 2 by 3. Okay, R. So T3 will be what? So T3 is equal to D3 by S3. That is equal to D3 is what? 30. So S3 is equal to what? 60. So it will be 1 by 2 hour. Okay. So how long did the car take to complete it? Okay, it will be what? T is equal, total time T is equal to T1 plus T2 plus T3. Right. So this will be equal to what? 1 plus 2 by 3 plus 1 by 2. So this will be equal to 6. So it will be 6 plus what? 2 into 2 is equal to 4 plus this will be 3. So 3. So 6 plus 4 plus 3 is equal to what? 13 by 6. Okay. So it will approximately take 13 by 6 hours to complete the whole journey. Okay. So let's see the step-by-step solution. So step 1 says that calculate the distance for each third of the journey. Okay. So 1/3 of 90 is equal to what? 30 kilometer. And then for the time taken for the first third is equal to what? Time is equal to, or T1 is equal to S1 by T1 or D1 by S1, right? And time is equal to 30 by 30 is equal to what? 1 hour. Okay. So calculate the time taken for the second third. Okay. So time is equal to what? Distance by speed. So time is equal to 30 by 45 is equal to 2 by 3 hour is equal to 40 minutes. So calculate the time taken for the final third. That is time is equal to what? Distance by speed. So time is equal to 30 kilometer by 60 kilometer per hour. It will be 0.5 hour. That is 30 minutes. Okay. So summing up the times for each part of the journey, 1 hour plus 40 minutes plus 30 minutes is equal to 2 hour 10 minutes. Okay. So the car took 2 hours and 10 minutes to complete the journey. So problem 4. Okay. If a car travels from city A to city B at a speed of 60 and returns from city B to city A at a speed of 40, if the total travel time is actually 5 hours, then what is the distance between two cities? Okay. So if car travels from city A to city B at a speed of 60 km per hour and returns from city B to A at a speed of 40 km per hour, then the total travel time is 5 hours. Okay. What is the distance between two cities? Okay. Let the distance between city A and B be d miles. Okay. So time taken to travel from A to B will be what? D by 60 hours. So time taken to travel from B to A will be what? D by 40 hours. So according to the problem, the total travel time is 5 hours. So d by 60 plus d by 40 is equal to what? 5. So to solve for d, find the common denominator. So 4d by 240 plus 6d by 240 is equal to 5. Okay, it will be what? 10 by 240. 10 by 10d by 240 is equal to 5. So this implies that d is equal to 5 by 10 into 240. That will be 120. Right? So the answer will be 120. So now isolating d, what we are left with is 10d is equal to 1200. So d will be 120. So the distance between city A and B will be 120 km only. Okay. So let's see problem number 5. A cyclist travels from town X to town Y at a speed of 24 km per hour and returns from town Y to town X at a speed of 18 km per hour. So if the total travel time is 6 hours, then what is the distance between the two towns? Okay. So cyclist goes from X to Y at speed of 24 km per hour and returns from y to x at a speed of 18 km per hour. Okay, so if this is x, so if the town is x and y, okay, so as he goes x to y, it is 24 km per hour, right? And as he returns, his speed is what? 18 km per hour. So if the total travel time is 6 hours, okay, so given that, so the distance is constant, let the distance be d. So 2d by 6 will be average speed, okay, because the total time is what? 6 hours. Then what is the distance between the two towns? Okay, so let the distance between town x and y be d kilometer. So time taken to travel from x to y is dy 24 hour. Okay, time travel to y to x will be dy 18 hour. So according to the problem, the total travel time is 6 hours. So adding these two must be equal to 6. So this implies that what will happen is we have what? So let's take 1 by 6 common. Okay, so 1 by 6 into d by 4 plus d by 3 is equal to 6. So this implies that d by 4 plus d by 3 is equal to 36. So this implies that this is 12. So 4d plus 3d is equal to 36. So this implies that 36 into 12, okay, whole by, so it will be 7, right? So 4d plus 7, it will be 7 is equal to d. So it will be equal to what? 7d by 72 is equal to 6. So it will be d is equal to 432 by 7, that is equal to 61.71 km. So the distance between town x and y will be approximately this much, that is 61.71 km. So let's see problem number 6. So Anuj drives to the grocery store at 30 km per hour. So speed of Anuj is actually 30 km per hour and returns home at 60 km per hour. What is his average speed for the entire trip? Okay, so average speed is equal to what? 2 into speed 1 into speed 2 whole by speed 1 plus speed 2. So in this case, it will be 2 into 30 into 60, right, by 30 plus 60. So it will be equal to what? 6 into 3 is equal to 18 into 2 is equal to 3600 whole by 90. So cancelling a 0 out, what we are left with is 9 into 40. So it will be 40 km per hour. So 40 km per hour is the average speed of Anuj. Okay, so average speed is equal to 2 into 30 into 60, it will be 3600 by 90. So cancelling a 0 out and then cancelling 9 with 360, we are left with 40. So average speed is 40 km per hour. So Anuj's average speed will be for the entire trip, it is 40 km per hour. So let's see problem number 7. So Amina drives to work in the morning at 50 km per hour and in the evening due to traffic she returns home at a speed of 40 km per hour. If the distance one way is 20 km, what is the average speed of her entire round trip? So let's see. So step 1 is to calculate the total distance of the round trip. So total distance will be 2 into 20 is equal to 40 km. So for the trip work, time is equal to what? Distance by speed, so 20 by 50 is equal to 0.4 hours. For the return, it will be 20 by 40 is equal to 0.5 hours. So summing up the total time taken is equal to 0.5 plus 0.4 is equal to 0.9 hour. So calculating the average speed is equal to what? Total distance by total time. So total distance is 40 and total time is 0.9. So in whole, it will be 44.44 km per hour. So Amina average speed for the entire round trip is approximately 44.44 km per hour. Let's see problem number 8. So Pushpendra cycles to the park at a speed of this much. So speed of Pushpendra is what? 20. So returns home by a longer route at a speed of 25 km per hour. So in this case, distance is not the same since he returned at a longer route. So if it took 1 hour to get to the park and 1.5 hour to return home, what was his average speed of the entire trip? So calculate the distance traveled for each leg. So distance is equal to speed into time. So 20 r into h is equal to what? 20 km. Okay, so for the return, it is 25 into 1.5 is equal to 37.5 since it is a longer route. So sum of the distance is equal to total distance is equal to 20 plus 35, 37.5, that is equal to 57.5. So summing up the time, we are left with 2.5 hours. So 57.5 by 2.5 will give us what? Average speed, right? So 23 km per hour is the solution here. So Dev's average speed for the entire trip was 23 km per hour. Let's see problem number 9. So a car travels from city P to Q at a speed of 60 and returns from city Q to city P at a speed of 75. Then find the average speed for the entire round trip. So average speed for the entire round trip can be calculated using the formula average speed is equal to 2 into speed 1 into speed 2 whole by speed 1 plus speed 2. So average speed will be what? 2 into 60 into 75 whole by 60 plus 75. So it will be nothing but 9000 by 135, that is 66.67 kilometer per hour. Okay, it won't be 66.67, it will be 60 kilometer per hour. Okay, kmph. It will be 60. So a person travels from town A to town B at a speed of 50 km per hour and then returns from town B to town A at a speed of 75 km per hour. Then calculate the average speed of the entire round trip. So to calculate the average speed for the entire round trip, what we can do is we can use the formula, that is average speed is equal to 2 into speed 1 into speed 2. Okay, whole by speed 1 plus speed 2. So average speed will be what? 2 into 50 plus into 75 whole by 50 plus 75. It will be 7500 by 125. Okay, so it will be nothing but it will be what? It will be, since 125 into 6 is equal to 750. So it will be what? 60. Since there is another 0. So if it is 60, okay, so average speed will be 60 km per hour. Okay. So average speed is 60 km per hour. So the average speed of the entire round trip is 60 km per hour. So two cars are driving towards each other from towns that are 150 km apart. So one car is actually traveling at 50 km per hour and the other is traveling at 70 km per hour. So how long will it take for the two cars to meet? So let's start the step-by-step solution. So when two objects move towards each other, the relative speed will be added up. So one is 50 and others is 70. So adding up these two, what we are left with is 120 km per hour. So calculating the time taken to mute using time formula will be what? Time is equal to distance by relative speed. So 150 by 120 is equal to 1.25 hours. Or we can also say that since 1.25 hours is equal to what? 1 hour and 15 minutes. So two cars will actually meet after 1 hour and 15 minutes. So problem number 12. So two cars A and B start from same point, okay, and travel in the same direction. Here they are traveling in same direction. So the relative speed will be what? Negated. That is, will be negated from one another. So alongside the straight road. So car A travels at a speed of 80 km per hour and car B travels at 100 km per hour. So their relative speed will be, so relative speed of A and B will be equal to what? 100 minus 80. That is equal to 20 km per hour. Okay, so this will be their relative speed. So if car A is 3 hours ahead of car B, then find the time it takes for car A to be 60 km ahead of car B. Okay, so right now their relative velocity is this much amount. Okay, so if car A is 3 hours ahead, so speed of car A is what? 80 km per hour. So 80 into 3 is equal to what? 240. So it is actually 240 kilometers away from B, right? So, and their relative velocity is what? 20 km per hour, and B will be covering up this much distance in how much time? So also it is told that car A will be 60 km ahead of car B. Okay, so 240 minus 60 is equal to what? 180 km. And at a speed, a relative speed of 20. So we can divide 180 by 20 is equal to what? 9. So it will take approximately how much? 9 hours to complete that distance. So let's see the step-by-step solution. So to solve this problem, we break this down into step-by-steps. Okay. So in step 1, what we do is we calculate the distance that car A possesses ahead. So it will be 80 into 3 is equal to 240. So car A is 240 km ahead when car B starts. So determining how much faster car B is than car A. So relative speed will be what? 100 minus 80 is equal to 20 km per hour. So car B actually catches up to car A at a rate of 20 km every hour. Okay, so every hour what A does is B catches up A 20 km. So their distance becomes less 20 km. So determine the speed, the time it takes for 240 km, okay, with car A to be with a lead of 60 km. So the difference that we want is 180 km. Okay, so to find out how long will it take for car B to catch up 180 km is at 20 km per hour will be what? 180 by 20. So it will be 180 by 20 is equal to time that actually B needs to catch up with a 60 kilometer difference between car A. Okay, so it will take him approximately 9 hours. So 9 hours for car A to be only 60 kilometer ahead of car B. Okay, so let's see problem number 13. So two trains, train X and train Y, okay, start from opposite ends of 200 kilometer long track and move toward each other. Train X travels at a speed of 50 km per hour and train Y travels at a speed of 60 km per hour. So how long will it take for the two trains to actually meet? So determine their combined relative speed. So relative speed is equal to what? Speed of train X plus speed of train Y. So relative speed will be 50 plus 60 is equal to 110. So this means that every hour the distance between two trains decreases by 160 km as they approach each other. So determine the time taken for the trains to meet. So time will be what? Distance by speed. So 200 by 110 is equal to what? 20 by 11. 20 by 11. So it will be 1.818 hours approximately. Let's see problem number 14. So a train travels from city A to city B in 5 hours, right? So if the distance between the two cities is actually 350 km, then what is the speed of the train? So using the formula, speed is equal to what? Distance by time. Okay. So speed is equal to 350 km by 5 hours. So it will be 350 by 5 is equal to 70 km per hour. So the speed of train is 70 km per hour. So let's see problem number 15. So if a train is actually 150 meters long, okay, and is running at a speed of 60 km per hour. Okay, so how long will it take it to pass a man walking in opposite direction? Here it is walking in what? Opposite direction with a speed of 66 km per hour. Okay, so there must something come to your mind when you see this term, that is opposite direction. So here the concept of relative speed will come. Okay, relative speed of train with man is equal to what? 6 plus 60 is equal to 66 km per hour, right? So to convert it into meter per second, what we'll do is, so kilometer per hour. So this is equal to what? 1000 meter by second, that is equal to 3600 second. So it will be 10 by 36, that is equal to what? So it will be 5 by 18. Okay, we can multiply this with this number. So it will be what? 66 into 5 by 18. So it will be 33 and it will be 9. So 33 into 5. So 33 into 5 is equal to what? 165 by 9. Okay. So this is the meter per second speed of the relative speed of the train and man. Okay. So convert the speed of the to same unit, that is 16.67 and 1.67 for the train and man speed respectively. Okay. So relative speed will be what? 16.67 meter per second plus 1.67 meter per second, that is approximately 18.34 meter per second. So time taken to cross the man is the time taken to cover the length of the train using the relative speed. So it will be what? Time is equal to distance by speed. This is the formula that we know. So time is equal to what? 150 meter by 18.34, that is equal to 8.18 seconds. So it will actually approximately take 8.18 seconds for the train to pass the man. Let's see problem number 16. So two trains start from station A and B located 800 km apart. Okay, so move toward each other. Okay, since they are moving towards each other, so relative speed of A and B will be what? Is equal to speed of A. So speed of A plus speed of B. Okay, because they are moving in towards each other. Okay, or in opposite direction. So the first train from station from A travels at 60 km per hour and the second travels at 40. So it will be what? 100 km per hour. Okay, their relative velocity. So if a bird starts flying from first train at a speed of 90 km per hour towards the second train and flies back and forth between the trains until they meet, then how much distance will be the bird have traveled? Okay, so the relative speed between the two trains will be 60 plus 40 equal to 100 km per hour. So time it takes for the two trains to meet is what? 800 by 100, that is equal to 8 hours. So in 8 hours the bird will have traveled 90 into 8 is equal to 720 kilometer. Okay, so the answer will be 720 kilometers. Okay, kilometer. Okay, between the time frame. Okay, so if a bird starts flying from the first train at a speed of 90 km per hour towards the second train and flies back and forth between the trains until they meet, then how much distance the bird have been traveled? It will be 720 kilometer. Okay, So let's go forward with problem number 17. So a train travels at a constant speed and takes 2 hours to cover a distance of 240 km. How long will it take to cover a distance of 320 km at the same speed? Okay. So t with the time in hours it takes to cover the distance 320 km. So since the speed is constant, we can use the formula distance is equal to speed into time. So 240 km is equal to speed into 2 hours. So speed will be what? 240 km by 2 hours, that is equal to 120 km per hour. Okay. So now that we know the speed, okay, so we can find for the second scenario when the covering distance is 320 km. So 320 km is equal to 120 km per hour into t, that is time. So t is equal to what? So keeping the t, that is time, in the left hand side as it is the unknown, and keeping all the known values in the right hand side. So 320 by 120 is equal to 2.67 hours. So this is the amount of time that will actually take to cover a distance of 320 km. Okay, at that same speed. Or we can also say 2 hour 40 minutes, because 2.67 hours is equal to 2 hour 40 minutes. So let's see problem number 18. Okay, so two trains, train P and train Q, starts at the same time and travel towards each other on a parallel track. So train P travels at a speed of 60 km per hour and train Q travels at a speed of 80 km per hour. If they start 300 km apart, how long will it take for them to meet? Okay, so let t be the time in hours it takes for the two trains to meet. So relative speed between train P and train Q will be what? So it will be 60 plus 80 is equal to 140 km. Okay, because they are traveling towards each other, so their direction is opposite in parallel tracks. Okay, it will be 140 km per hour. So distance traveled by the two trains relative to each other is equal to relative speed into time, that is equal to 180 km per hour into t. Okay, so distance is 300, so 300 is equal to 140 t. So t is equal to 300 by 140. So it will be 30 by 40. So it will be 2 point something, that is 2.14 or 2 hour 8 minutes. So for the two trains to meet. Okay, so that's enough for today. Thank you.